I am Ranee Desai and I am an architect. I passed out from Sir J.J. College of Architecture in 1985-86. And ever since I've been working, and now I have my own practice called Design Sparks. Actually, I've been a very regular kind of a person in my life. My father, mother were lawyers, and our whole family have been they're all educated. There are postgraduates, and there are doctors, and there are lawyers, and there are chartered accountants. But architect as a word was never heard of also. We had engineers. What they did as kids, we never knew. So, but my school career, I have been a topper all the time. I hardly missed my first rank. So my father had great aspirations from me. He always felt I could do something. But surprisingly, he tells me one day that, you should become a pilot. So I said, Dad, why pilot? He says, nahi, udo, dunya dekho, maja karo. And though I was academically so strong, and he still told me, become a pilot. So I said, not bad, chalo, hum pilot banenge. You know, that when you're kids, you really don't know what you want to become, but you kind of feel that somebody is directing you. So I used to live in that mode, but my hobbies were always on a Saturday, Sunday, would always be making and creating. I used to do craft work. I would make things for my teacher. If not for my teacher, I would take coconut shells and make something. I would take eggshells and do something, though it was never part of craft. School had something else, but I was always spending my Saturday, Sunday making things in a little balcony, one-bedroom house, My mother would feed us, my sisters would be doing it, but I would spend my balcony time making things. So that was always interesting for me. Then when I was in the 10th standard, and I used to frequent my dad's office. He was with the assurance company, and he was into real estate, and he had many portfolios. So while he would sit in his cabin, I would wait for him to take me home with my sister. I would kind of just loaf around, the office. As kids, people allowed it those days. So while everybody was sitting on a desk and a chair, there were clerks, they were whatever they were doing. There was one guy who sat on a high stool, and he had this big thing in front of him, board-like thing, and he would be doing something there. That was Mr. Rele. So I asked my dad, everybody is on table and chair, what is this guy sitting on this high chair doing? He said, he's an architect. I said, Mr. Rele is an architect? What is he doing here? He said, we have these real estate projects and all that, so Mr. Rele has to make drawings of property and all. So one day with Rele's permission, I just peeped on his board, and he had all these, he was drawing with something which I never identified as equipment, but I saw that he was drawing something in black pen and ink, and there were like these rooms, this, that. In the 9th, 10th standard, I didn't understand what it was, but I knew that he was drawing, and it was interesting. You sit on a high chair and you're doing something like this on a big board, huge, what we call elephant size, as we learned later. I think his was double elephant size, means huge. So I kind of felt that this is something I would also like to do. So I found out, how do you do this? So he said, you have to do 2 years of science. While I was academically very strong in school, I never liked science or maths. But I said, okay, करना यही है, table पे ऐसा बड़ा drawing करना है, then I must do science. So I got good marks, so obviously any college would have taken me. But I went to Elphinstone College because that was my father's college. My kaka and all of them have studied there. So I said Elphinstone College, and you don't need to do biology there. You don't need to do botany and all that, but you can do economics. So I said, okay, this is fine, economics is fine, physics, chemistry to kar lenge. And I did 2 years of science in Elphinstone, and that immediately got me the good marks to go into any field I wanted. So there again, we went to the only college we knew was Sir J.J. College of Architecture. So my father took me there, and the entrance exam had to be given. Surprisingly, I stood 7th in the merit list. They select only 15 people, and there were about 300, 400 people who gave that exam. Honestly, I had never seen a T-square or set square in my life, but there were some people who were sitting with those. And we were wondering, what is all this? Apna to kuch hone wala nahi hai, yahi leke jayega, hamara chance lagega nahi. So when the merit list was put up, I was 7th there. My father stood there with tears in his eyes. He never expected his daughter, architecture kya hai bhi nahi malum, and ye to 7th aa gayi. So destiny was already fixed. And I became an architect. I got into I struggled 1 year because I had absolutely no knowledge of where I was going, except for the fun of wanting to draw. But then as 1 year, say दूसरा साल में गए, looking at people, observing what people do, there are kids of architects, there are kids of engineers, there are people who have already done commercial art and have come into architecture. सबको देखते, non-competitive spirit, non-competitive, but just understanding ये सब क्या है. By third year, I was like ready. I understood what was really happening around me. First 2 years, well, I passed with first class, but I was still not feeling confident. But I said, ये तो छोड़ेगा नहीं. In third and fourth and fifth year, I started doing good. Not the best, but pretty good, And when I passed out in the final year, while there were great projects, I was not bad either. I still submitted a good quality project that got me a first class honors. So there I was ready. I became an architect. Then my father wanted me to go abroad. I said, no, Dad, I don't want to do all this study, read books, and there's so much of theory. I said, I don't want to do that. I want to start drawing. So he said, well, that is okay. So what do you do? So I took up a job with, one of my professors only gave me a job. 5 years I was again there. First year again struggling. As a student, you're not designing. You just come out. Nobody qualifies you to become excellent. That much I know in India at least. Nobody qualifies to make you an expert. They qualify you good enough to start. But that's all. Thereafter, you have to find your ground. So 5 years I was doing some industrial buildings. I always liked the sidekick, never the main. Obviously not, because we were not that qualified. But I had a good journey, studied, worked hard there. And after 5 years, I realized that इसमें तो side पे जाने को hardly मिलता है. Because projects are so big and they are in far off places. Chiplone, Pune also seemed far those days. Boss would request him, he will take you sometimes to site, and you stand there like an idiot trying to understand, but you want to know. But basically you're only drawing, working drawing, details. Then I said, yaar, ye bahut ho gaya, abhi apne ko kuch aur karna hai na. Then by the time the interior field was showing up, in my time, that is, I would say 86 to 90 or so, there was no interior the way we see today. People were doing interior work, but nobody was really hiring an architect to do residential work and, they were hiring contractors. But I was hearing that there's some interior work jo chal raha, because my friends were working in Somaya Kalappa. Somebody was working in Somaya Kalappa. She used to talk of things and all. I said, what the hell is this? I want to change. I told my ex-boss, I said, sir, I want to make. I want to build, I want to be to site and see. He says, but we can't do, our projects are that and this and all. He was in a retirement mode. So then by God's grace, somebody called me and said, why don't you join me? I need a person. Because of course, families know each other. And somebody felt, they are not family people, but somebody felt that this girl is raring to go. So he said, why don't you join me? And that was Rajiv Shroff, my second boss. And he really turned my world around. He took me into the world of corporate interiors. And I worked so hard, again, struggling 1 year to understand what is it, tenders, details, what is a skirting, what are these painters? There's luster paint, there is this paint, there is this detail, there is this corner. And interiors is a massive field of learning. That's when I actually learned how to build and how to construct. Though it was only plywood and marbles and tiles and etc., I really learned how to build. And that is when I put 18 years of my life just making offices. Small, big, 400 square feet to 1 lakh square feet, 1.5 lakh square feet, multiple floors. But I must tell you, my first experience is when he took me to an office that measured 15,000 square feet. And he says, you have to do this. And I looked at him and I said, sir, I felt like telling me, sir, are you mad? What is 15,000 square feet? I've been doing 3,000, 2,000. He said, you can do it. And when somebody says that to you, you feel you can do it, means I should be able to do it, na? So I would give credit to that man who always felt that, I can do it. He put so much of confidence in me and I let my confidence build. So basically, I'm not a very confident person because I always saw in college I was not the best. Though in school I may be the best, but school is something else. But when you come to college, there are so many people better. Like even if you look into the commercial arts section or you look at the fine arts section, there are so many people are so good. People are making portraits and people are making models and all. So I was not the best. But now here somebody is giving me a chance to do what I love to do, and that is make and create and build. So I did that, and I did it with full sincerity. I mean, I really put my life into it. And I never concentrated on, finding a man to marry and all that, though many things came my way and all. I was always feeling that, this man won't let me do it. That man won't let me do it. That is always on the back of my mind, that whatever I go for, not that you don't want to marry, everybody wants to marry. But when you see it, you feel that, this man is not going to give me the chance. I'm going to succumb to the day-to-day life. So that is when somehow my mind, and of course there were little downfalls, emotionally, people don't make you feel good about yourself. So you feel that there's a world that makes me feel very good about myself, that I am something. Why should I succumb to something that is not making me feel good about myself? So that's when I took a decision, and I felt that, if that is to happen someday, marry, it'll happen someday whenever it happens. Life is too long. And fortunately for me, my parents never forced me to say, get married. They always say, marriage will happen when it happens. Find yourself someone, but do what you enjoy. And I think that is what my parents really taught me. They never forced us into doing the standard. Do what makes you feel good and feel proud of yourself. So with that kind of background, I worked for 18 years, met the best of people. I met CEOs, CFOs, the topmost directors, and I interacted with all kinds of men in the field, saw, and I've always lived a life with lots of men. Even today, it's just men. So women have been very few. So I would say that I am happy that there are so many men in the world who trust a woman to do their things, And my journey, though, as a learner, took me to people who felt that, she's experienced and she has a track record, thanks to my ex-boss, Rajiv Shroff, who gave me that courage. And I started feeling that, okay, while you sit 18 years in an office doing, all kinds of work with all kinds of people, juniors and people who you live a family life with, someday I felt, I want a place of my own. I think I can do more than just corporate interiors. How much can I work with ply and aluminium and carpets and tiles and plumbing, it was all getting very contained in an inner space. But I want to come out of it. I want to build where I can see on the ground. That's when I actually came out on my own. It was an overnight decision. But before that, I told my mom, if I fail, what will I do? I'll just sit back and travel the world. So she says, ठीक है, वो तो वैसा भी करना है ना, try करने में क्या हर्ष है? My dad had passed away. My dad always wanted me to have an office. And when I didn't become a pilot, he said, okay, at least start an office, do something on your own and I'll help you. But I never listened to my dad. I was so engrossed in my corporate jobs, interiors, that I didn't listen to my father. And today I feel sad that he was the one who was pushing me, but I never took a clue from him. But then when my father died and this kind of enlightenment came to me, I decided to listen to my mother and start. I put all my money into this office, which is just about 325 square feet. I put all the money I had earned, plus my mom gave me some money, and I bought this place. I actually bought it, and that was the proudest moment of my life, because I even negotiated with brokers, this, that, and did everything to kind of even buy an office. And I bought this office with this little terrace here and feeling great, and even put in my interiors, and you see this whole lot of projects I put up here, and I was feeling so great. And fortunately for me, I'm not a person with money. I can't count money. I don't like money. I don't like calculating money. So money is not my strong point. I would say numbers is not my strong point. So my mom used to say that, you need to become money wise. How do I become money wise overnight after spending all the years drawing? So then my mom said that, why don't you use your sister, which is my younger sister, and she had worked for Barclays Bank for 8 years and in the accounts section. Though she is an MA economics, she knows numbers, and her husband is a financial guy. He has worked in the biggest of companies in his life, so I felt, not bad. So I asked her, she said, what can I do in an architect's office? But she joined me, and the two of us started here, and we said, from today we start an office. Honestly, it was like playing office. We had no work, but I think I created enough goodwill in the city. City, of course, only Mumbai, and though I worked all over the country, I created goodwill, and people came to me. literally by word of mouth, and that's where today I am. I am an architect now, architect for so many years. 81 I joined, 85, 86 I passed out, and 91 I got into interiors, commercial corporate interiors, doing banks, multinationals, everything, everybody. Best of clients, best of people. And I would say that, I think I was privileged. I always met good people, whether they were workers, unskilled, laborers, cleaners. I never met a bad man in my life. That is what I feel proud. I think it's a blessing. So it's been great. There are challenges are in every field. Anybody who joins a new office in any field, whether you join an office or you join a job as a salesperson in a mall, or you join as a housekeeper washing toilets, there is a challenge every day in every job. So it doesn't mean that if you are superly qualified, you are not going to have challenges. And if you say you are not qualified or you are just a menial job, there are not. Challenges are there in every life. You have to work to earn your money and you have to show your efficiency. Efficiency anywhere gets paid. There may be little ups and downs, but I don't think that's a. You have to learn to deal with it. Everybody is not powerful and positive. Learn to create that positive. Don't look at people like this man or this woman is going to eat me raw. Never start with that. Always say that the person who I'm meeting is good for me. It's an opportunity. Look at them like that and everything goes well. Then, of course, challenges as an architect or interior designer, you never start on a clean field. You're always starting in a dirty environment. It's mess till you finally create the good. So it is a lot, I would say it's a lot physically challenging. You have to work in outdoor environments. You can't look after your skin. You are going to tan despite your SPF 45 or 50 or whatever. You have to wear clothes that are unisex in a way that yes, you respect your body, but you also have to look like one of the usual. You cannot expect to look like a lady damsel and expect to, work without the advances. So you have to learn to dress neutral. Whether you're wearing a sari or you're wearing a salwar kameez or you're wearing pants or whatever, learn to dress neutral. That helps a lot in working in the actual site environment. And that's what keeps you don't try to be special in a general environment. And work happens. You have to mingle with the lot, you have to be with them, and you have to be conscious of the way you speak. You cannot speak to people like, your friends. Don't get so casual, you may have a chai with them, you may eat with them, but don't get so casual that tomorrow they put their hand on your shoulder and make you feel like you're that much one. It is very important to keep a distance, come close, but at a distance. That distance is what all women have to learn to observe. So you manage that, and you have to manage it well by just observing. You observe people, observe their behavior. Because observation is the most important aspect of an architect's career. You have to observe everything, what is in front of you, what is around you, why is it the way it is. Don't observe people in detail, but observe things and then observe people. And life goes on. Learn, learn, learn. You'll always keep learning. For the young people, okay? Work hard. Nothing comes in life without hard work. And hard work means focused hard work. Don't work like a donkey. I would say if you want to make a career as an architect or anything, architect in particular, you must know that you have to have at least minimum 6 hours of sleep. You have to have a night with good sleep. If you are going to work in the day and party in the night and expect in the morning you're fresh to work, you can't become a good architect for long. You'll probably die in a few years. But I think it has to be, good sleep has to be necessary to keep you physically powered all the time, because architecture is a physical job. It is creative, all that is okay, but it's a very physical job. For that you have to give your body rest as often as possible and get charged the next day. You can't have an easy college life and then expect to, do a good run as an architect. You'll have to let it go in the middle somewhere. So I would say study hard, observe, observe, observe. Stay focused if you want a career in architect a long time in life. Otherwise, you do it for 5 years, give it up for whatever other priorities, let it go forever. You can't pick up what you have lost as an architect. You can pick up interiors, but you can't pick up architecture. You have to keep the focus and you have to keep the hard work. Whatever, despite you may have families, you may have children, but if you want to be an architect for a long time in your life, you have to keep your focus on architecture. You can do interiors. It is a playful field. You can do, you can make and break and make and break. But architecture, when you build for a long time. So it has to be a very focused kind of involvement.